Hi, I'm Dr. Rajani. Thanks for joining me today. I'm talking retinols. A lot of questions, a lot of confusion, and today I'm going to talk about them, retinoic acid and retinaldehyde. What are the differences? I'll be answering some of the most asked questions, including when to use them, how to apply them, what can be mixed with them, and should you mix anything? Do they cause light sensitivity, thinning of the skin? And finally, how to use them with procedures. What should that timing be? It seems like I have them all scattered around my house, different brands, different types. For over 20 years, I've used them and offered many different brands in my clinics. In 2005, I had 9 different locations, different varying economic regions. So I offered inexpensive ones and more expensive ones, and I got to see the results. Does it really even matter? Today I'll share exactly what I learned, how to use them from both the science perspective and what do I really see in practice in my own clinical experience. They certainly were a common denominator amongst people who did not look their age back in the 90s. At that time, we didn't use a lot of fillers, just a little bit of collagen. A lot of people didn't have the availability of home devices. There wasn't Amazon, LED lights, and all those things. So I'd ask, hey, what are you doing at home? What's the common denominator? Often they were overseas obtaining very inexpensive retinoic acids. And that was great at the time because there wasn't much else available, but certainly there were problems, and we're going to talk about what things to avoid. Even today, 50 years after they were introduced for anti-aging, there's still so much confusion. There's still many questions, and in fact, on my community section on my YouTube channel, I asked the question, should I even do this video? And 70% out of 4,000 people said, yes, please do it. I'm going to answer the questions that you've actually asked me there, so it's very pertinent to you. At the end of the video, I'll recommend a couple products differing in that one will be a retinol, one a retinaldehyde, and I'll go through the differences, but I'll also rate them on a scale so you can see if they might be right for you. If you are interested in looking your best, learning the most, and saving time, money, and energy with your aesthetic endeavors, please subscribe. Just smash that like button. I'm trying to bring you the best information in the industry concisely and as directly as possible, but with an education slant so you're armed with the information to look and feel your best. So what is retinoic acid, retinaldehyde, retinol? Vitamin A is in the family of retinoids, another confused term. Think of it in terms of 3 common ingredients. In the retinoid family, you're going to have retinoic acid. That is the prescription version, and that many people have used that traditionally. That's the most potent, but many people either don't have access to it or they can't tolerate it, meaning that they want to use it a few times a week. It's drying out their skin, they get inflammation. But that's retinoic acid, biologically active. Then you go to the biologically inactives. These are the ones that you know. The first one is retinaldehyde. You do not hear of that one as commonly as you do retinol. So you have retinoic acid, which is the active form. The retinaldehyde needs to convert in one step to the retinoic acid in the body. And so many people would say, well, why wouldn't you use that? And one of the ones that I'm going to recommend at the end, in fact, is the retinaldehyde. I had in my skincare line a retinaldehyde. I liked it a lot. The only reason I stopped it, I just didn't have the capacity to work on that product line and packaging at the time, but the product was amazing. I still have the formulation, love it. I think it's one of the best, and you'll see that come back into my line. But for now, I'll recommend a different one at the end. Retinol, which many of you then know, takes 2 steps to convert to retinoic acid. So it's less potent again, but more available. Why would that be? What's my take on that? With skincare, the less active products that a company puts in it, the less callbacks they get with problems, the less issues, and people just cruise on. Skincare is something that people buy different brands, they jump around, and if you have something active, as I'm going to tell you in a few moments, there are problems with that, meaning sensitivity to the skin flaking, redness, and that's what I'm here to answer for you today. So think of it in those three terms and it will make much more sense. The retinaldehyde and the retinols are not biologically active. They need to be converted. To confuse the situation a little bit more, people convert things by way of enzymes and so on at different rates. So while some people might not tolerate the retinaldehyde because it's closer to the retinoic acid, other people might need the retinol because it's even less potent. The bottom line is you can get the effect of the retinoic acid, the granddaddy, from both retinaldehyde and retinol. It might take a little longer, you might need a little more dose, but they're all very effective. Now, when I say they're effective, what does that mean? What do retinoids do? Well, when you hear the number of things, you're going to want to rush out and get one if you don't already have several lying around your house. Number one, reduce the look of fine lines and wrinkles. Who doesn't want that? Promote collagen growth. They decrease the appearance of the size of the pore. Why do I say it like that? You can't decrease the number of pores on your body, but pores become widened, they produce oil, and the exfoliating factor of retinoids can reduce the appearance of pores very effectively. They smooth the skin. They help treat acne, and they kill P. acnes, a bacteria that leads to acne on the skin. They help with fine lines, and they help reverse brown spots, solar spots. They give you glow. Everyone wants glass skin and glow. Why do I say that last? And the reason is, when we talk about glow, they will get you there, but initially they may not. They can cause problems and inflammation. That has to be addressed. So they can dull your skin too. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how to use them most effectively so you get glow. But they do that by improving light reflection, by giving you new skin, as the new skin typically turns over on the face every 30 days. Those that are on vitamin A derivatives, retinoids, they turn over the skin maybe every 13 to 17 days. So you're getting more and more skin as long as you follow my rules that will be forthcoming. So let's go through 5 rules of using them that will do you well. Number 1 is education. I think this is, I'm putting it as the most important, because a lot of people are going to ask, how many times a week should I use it? We're going to get to the questions, but the key is educate yourself on your skin, on your product that you're using, and learn how to use your skin as a feedback, no matter what you're using. We're talking today vitamin A. Of course, there's the ABCs of skincare: vitamin A, vitamin Bs, such as B3, niacinamide, vitamin Cs. Even vitamin C can irritate the skin, and that creates a problem and inflammation. So know your skin and educate, and that's what you're doing here on this channel, because that's the rule number 1. Number 2 is going to be sun sensitivity. Sun can degrade the product. We use these at night in general. But during the day, you're going to use sunscreen. A lot of people will say, should I use them in the morning, or should I use them in the night, or should I use them while I'm on my sunny vacation? My answer is yes. And I talked about MMPs, matrix metalloproteins, collagenases that break down the skin. These have been thought, and some preliminary evidence to show that they prevent these. Where do you get those from? Sun exposure. They break down your collagen. So people in sunny climates use them all the time, but sunscreen is key, and using them at night. Third rule of thumb is you have to adapt to these. So consistency of use. And yes, the first 3 to 6 weeks, you may not like them. They may cause acne. They may cause that dulling of the skin, but you got to work through that phase. Again, educate on your skin, work through that phase. Consistency is key. Number 4, Don't go crazy. I told you all the good things that they do. So some people say more is better. I'm going to go through how to start them, but inflammation is bad, and just using more doesn't work. So when you educate yourself on your skin, you're going to use your skin's inflammation, and if you feel it, a windburn feel, you're going to pull back on your dose. More does not mean better here. Number 5, when to start them. Start in your 20s. Those that are watching this that are late 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's injection time. Yes, these work great with your injections, and you should stop them from any procedures 2 weeks before, particularly 2 weeks after. Anything that's going to affect the stratum corneum or that external part of the skin barrier, that is extremely important, and that you can strip with these. That's part of the problem. So starting in the 20s and prevention is much more important. And that was a common denominator that I saw in the early 2000s when this was a staple of what people did. Even chemical peels weren't accessible to people. They used them regularly from a young age, and they would say, yeah, I used them for the last 20 years. So consistent, regular use from the 20s. And that goes back to which ones. The retinoic is the strongest, retinaldehyde next, and then the retinol. In the 20s, easily start with a retinol. You don't need to start with something so aggressive unless you're someone with oily or acne skin. Let's go and answer some of the questions that you asked directly in the community section when I posted that. I think that will answer much of what many people are asking about retinoids. So the first question I got was, how do I start a retinol? And let's assume it's for an anti-aging reasons and not acne. Those are slightly different. But for anti-aging, if you're not using anything, start a retinol twice a week. You don't have to stack 2 nights back to back. Some people do recommend it, but I recommend on a day 1 and then 3 days later using it again, and then you can step up from there. Why it's so difficult to answer is there's different strengths, and people don't know the difference between retinol, retinaldehyde, and sometimes retinoic, at least until you watch this video. But even if you take a retinol, you're going to see 0.04% all the way up to 3%. So the range is so different. The bioavailability will also be different, and how it's mixed, what other products are used, makes a difference as well. I'm going to help with that part of the confusion by recommending a couple at the end of the video, and you can start there and you can move around your retinols as well. And then my retinol, I don't have a date, but somewhere within the next 6 months to year and a half, I'll reintroduce mine again, and you can try that. It'll be a retinaldehyde. So that's how I would start it, and then you're using your skin as a gauge to see what happens with the inflammation. The next question I got was, how many days a week should I use it to be effective? Great question, because if you're using a retinoic or the strongest form and you use that for a few days, even the strongest of skin at a 0.1% will feel windburned, and the windburn feel will guide you. However, with a retinol, you may never get that effect. It is working, it does work, and you can start at that 2 days a week. You can move up to 7 days a week until you feel that slight windburn feel, a little bit of flakiness. You need to pull back there because that indicates inflammation. So it does not matter whether your dose for you is once a week, once every 10 days, and your friend might be doing it once every day. It does not mean they're getting a better result. As I told you, the conversion in the body is going to be different for everyone. It's not about how many days, it's about the education and looking at your skin. Can I take it in the morning? The answer is yeah, it's not ideal. The sun will affect the product. And we should all be wearing sunscreen anyway, so you put it on if you need to use it in the morning. And I'm not sure why one would need to, but you use it in the morning, leave it on for 10 or 20 minutes, depending on your formulation, and put sunscreen on top. And avoid sunglasses, wide brim hat, everything you can do to avoid the sun. You're not going to get vitamin deficient in most parts of the country because sunblock only stops at best 50% of the sun. So not a big issue. It can be, but I do recommend the nighttime. The sun sensitivity is much more to inflamed skin, a loss of the stratum corneum, than it is to the actual any sun sensitivity created by the product itself. So you could be using it at night, but if you have inflamed skin, you're still going to have more sun damage during the day because it's the inflammation, not the product. Hope that makes sense. Ask questions in the comments below if it didn't. Next question I had was, can I use it with rosacea? Anything with rosacea, anything with melasma, I'll throw that in there, is very, very tricky. And in rosacea, there's 4 or 5 different types of rosacea. So which one, how intense, that's, no one can answer that. What I will say, some people get a little better with retinols and rosacea, and others don't fare well with it. Again, it's education, it's testing your skin. Part of the problem with these retinoids is it can take 4 to 5, 6 weeks before you know how your skin responds. As I told you, you have that consistency that's needed to see. For a lot of people, having a professional look at your skin and determine and guide you what you should do is really important. When you have conditions like that, having a guiding, experienced hand of someone you trust is important, and that's why those professionals exist. Can you use it on the body? I was asked that. Absolutely yes. Goes back to education. Remember, the skin under the eyes is very thin. The skin around the mouth and in the nasal creases is thin. It's different than the dermis here, and so your dosing will be different. You'll educate yourself and you'll see. It's why when we use chemical peels, we might put one layer in those areas, and we can put several areas on the cheek where the dermis is thicker. So if you're using it on the body, the skin on the back of the hands doesn't have a lot of pores. It's going to be more sensitive. It's thinner dermis. The stomach, you might be able to use more of a dose for you. And if the retinols and retinaldehydes aren't working, step it up to a retinoic acid. And there are body retinoic creams that you can get and use. So yes, it works on the body. The body needs collagen too. And I know you can watch my video on crepey skin solutions. So many comments about the body. I know people care about it. Let's dive into a couple of products that I like. I'll tell you why. Let's look at them now. Okay, so I'm going to recommend 2 products that I use, I like, and I know in the retinol family. Now the first one is a retinaldehyde. As I mentioned, the retinaldehyde converts directly to retinoic, so it's a one-step process. It's going to be a little bit more effective, maybe use the word a little more aggressive, not to scare you off, but it's Avene. So this is what the bottle looks like. And if you look at the actual product, this color demonstrated here is true to what it looks like when it's dispensed. It has a little bit of tincture of color to it. So let's look at the ingredients here. First of all products are gonna have water. So you got some spring water, that's always nice. If we look here, of course there's fillers and different slips and glides, but if we go down to the actives, there's benzoic acid, and we know that does many things, helps with acne as well. A lot of people on retinoids are on them because of acne or oily skin, so that's going to help. If we come down the list, look, there's 2 peptides, dipeptide 15 and oleoyl tripeptide 31. So there's some peptides. You can watch my other videos on peptides. Peptides aren't your number 1 or your foundational agreement, but a lot of people like them, and there's mounting evidence. Here we go, there's the retinol. So obviously it's not the first ingredient. On my AHA cream, glycolic is going to be the first ingredient because it's very high. So as you go down, you're getting descending concentrations of ingredients. However, if retinol was the first ingredient, that would be very, very strong. So that fits. And then there's no hyaluronic acid, but a lot of these aren't real. The kind of high hyaluronic acid you want in them anyway. The next product I'm going to show you does have that in it. Sodium hyaluronate, this doesn't. Tocopherol, of course, we know. And in terms of parabens, there are none. Don't get all hyped up on parabens, however, some people like to know that. So this is a great product. I rate it on a scale of 5. Number 1 is tolerability. So in the family of retinoids, this is very tolerable. I give it a 4 out of 5. If you have very sensitive skin, a lot of people can't take any of these, but in terms of this family of products and the fact that it's a one-step conversion, very high tolerability, and it goes on fairly moist. A lot of people will not need to add a moisturizer before and after like we would with retinoic acid straight. Cost, this is around $70. Cost is relative to people. Someone posted that on my video of one of the celebrities, J-Lo, that she came in and she purchased thousands of dollars of skin care from one of the high-end department stores. So for them, $70 is nothing. For other people, it's expensive. It's middle of the road. But understand, if you have to use this once or twice a week, that's much more cost-effective than using a less expensive product 7 days a week or even twice a day. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 on cost because it works so well. You need less product, and when you get into the retinol family, it is your foundational product. So that is one of the products I do recommend spending the money on. Smell, there's no smell, so I'm going to rate it 5 out of 5. I kind of like that. For most people, it's neutral, so that works well. Dispensing, great pump, no oxygen getting into it, so it's going to maintain its formulation strength. And then integration, tissue integration with other products is a 5 out of 5. So very high rating for this product. I put a link in the more info section below this video if you want a direct link to the product or purchase the product. Many already have a product like this, or actually this product at home. I'm sure it's very popular. So my second recommended product, it's a little different in that it's a retinol. A retinol, again, an inactive ingredient that is converted by way of a two-step type of process to get back to the active retinoic acid. But let's take a look at the ingredients and the dispenser. It's a great choice as well. So the CeraVe is 30 mLs as well, but keep in mind, it's not the amount. Likely most people are going to have to use more of this product to equal what you're going to get with the retinol or retinaldehyde product. It is a nice container. It's pretty basic, good, reliable dispenser, but let's look at the ingredients here first. Again, like before, water's high up on the list. We don't have spring water this time, but we do have water. Okay, if we work down, we have ceramides, really important. I think they deserve a complete video, so I'll do that. Come down, we have retinol right here. So it's pretty high up on the list. And it also has, I mentioned hyaluronic acid. A lot of people put that in skincare because consumers want to see it. Hyaluronate sodium isn't the exact form you want to see. You want to see small, large molecules. That's why we have dedicated hyaluronic acid serums. But it is in there. It's nice to see, and it is a selling point for a lot of people. Now, there's also licorice extract. And this is an anti-inflammatory, so it's going to help, of course, with the retinol. So this will be well tolerated. There's also high up here, niacinamide. Look how high up on the list. You know I like niacinamide. It works very well. It's, again, an anti-inflammatory. So it fits to have it in this product. So there's a lot of great ingredients packed in here if you choose to go for a retinol. If I were to rate this product, tolerability, very high. This is going to be, in terms of the vitamin A derivatives, a 5 out of 5. If you can't tolerate this once or twice a week, it would be very difficult to tolerate any of them. And remember, you can still buffer this with extra moisturizers. So there are ways to use it, but this will be very tolerable. Cost, you can't get any less expensive in terms of the cost of the actual product. For 30 mLs, it's about $20. But again, over time, this might end up being more expensive than the retinol. Many people might have both, so you can mix them up. So sometimes your skin might have a little more inflammation, you can go to the retinol. Sometimes you need a little more oomph, a little more strength, you can go to the retinol. In terms of smell, I give this a 4 out of 5 too. Excellent. Dispensing, it's a basic container, works well. Again, it's not going to get oxidized, and sunlight won't get to it because of the color, which is real nice. In terms of integrating, this is a very smooth product, integrates well. I give it a 4 out of 5. I put a complete playlist up here for things you can do at home to keep your skin healthy. What do you use? Retinols, retinaldehydes, retinoics? Stay tuned here. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.